Hello, I'm Jerry Fort. I'm going to read a story from this book here called The Scary States of America, 50 Weird and Terrifying Stories, one from each state based on true events by Michael Teitelbaum. All right, so I've been randomly trying to find one that I have not read. Let's see, have I done that one? I have not done that one. Ohio. How to solve your own murder. Excuse me. Sometimes a person who is about to be murdered will try to leave a clue behind to help the police find the killer. But Maria Carrillo, a Filipina immigrant living in Cleveland, Ohio, didn't leave behind any clues. She simply told police who had killed her in her own voice. Well, her ghost did anyway. Dr. Arnold McMaster emailed me this bizarre story of how Maria's ghost, speaking through Arnold's wife, Kate, fingered her own killer. My wife, Kate, and I were friendly with Maria Carrillo. Maria was a nurse at the hospital where I'm a doctor and Kate works as a physical therapist. I know that Maria came to the United States from the Philippines, like so many immigrants before her, looking for a better life. She thought she had found it here in Cleveland, but her life was cut tragically short. One day, not long ago, Maria failed to show up for work. She didn't call to explain, which was not like her. Repeated calls to her apartment went unanswered. After 2 days, her worried supervisor at the hospital called the police, who broke down the door to Maria's apartment. Inside, they discovered her lifeless body sprawled out on the bedroom floor. She had been stabbed repeatedly. Police searched the apartment, but didn't find many clues. They began an investigation, which quickly led to nothing but dead ends. That's when my wife and I entered the picture. Kate and I were home one evening a few weeks after Maria's death. "Some coffee?" Kate asked as we finished cleaning up the dinner dishes. "Sure," I said, turning to reach for the coffee pot. Suddenly, Kate fell back against the counter, dropping the dish she was holding. It shattered into a million pieces on the tile floor. "Kate!" I shouted. "What's the matter?" I could see she was shaking. Kate dropped to her knees and stared straight ahead. Then her eyes rolled up into her head. "Kate!" I cried, dropping to the floor beside her. Her head snapped back as she fell forward. I caught her before she hit the floor and laid her down gently, cradling her head in my hands. "Kate, can you hear me?" Kate remained limp in my arms, completely unresponsive. Her eyes were open, showing only white. I grabbed my bag and pulled out the small light I used to examine patients' eyes. Shining the light into Kate's eyes, I watched as her pupils rolled back down, but she stared up blankly, still not acknowledging me. Could she have had a stroke, I thought? Some other kind of attack? But the symptoms didn't match any condition I knew. I grasped her wrist and quickly took her pulse. Kate's heart was racing. This doesn't make any sense. If anything, her heart rate would be slow upon her losing consciousness. I grabbed my cell phone and dialed 911. I knew I had to get her into the ER as quickly as I could. Mere seconds could make the difference between life and I couldn't even think it. Then, before the 911 operator picked up, Kate bolted upright. And a second later, she climbed to her feet as if nothing had happened. "What was that?" I asked, ending the call with a deep sigh of relief, but my relief was premature. Kate walked out of the kitchen, acting as if she hadn't even heard me. She headed to the bedroom, her hands pinned to her sides. Her strides were steady but stiff and robotic. "Kate, can you hear me?" I yelled, hurrying along beside her. Reaching the bedroom, Kate stretched out on the bed and rolled onto her back. Suddenly, her entire body began shaking violently. Her arms whipped around wildly, her legs kicking at the air as if she were trying to push something away. The convulsions grew more intense. I was terrified. I rushed back to my bag and quickly prepared a syringe with a mild sedative, hoping to reduce the convulsions. Then I hurried back into the bedroom. As I stepped toward Kate, a powerful invisible force shoved me away from the bed. I rushed back toward Kate, but was again shoved halfway across the room. As I reached for my phone to try 911 again, Kate stopped shaking. Her jaw dropped open and a low, guttural sound emerged from her mouth. The sound gradually morphed into actual words, but the voice coming from Kate's mouth was not her own. It was as if another person was transmitting her voice through Kate. Kate repeated the same phrase over and over. A chill shot down my spine as I listened. I am Maria Carrillo. No, I didn't have a deep voice, surely, but is this a weird joke, Katie? I asked, though I knew my wife would never play a prank like this. I am Maria Carrillo, she repeated. I felt the blood drain from my face. I recognized the voice. I had worked with Maria long enough to know her voice, her accent. No doubt about it. Maria's voice was coming from my wife's mouth. I am Maria Carrillo. Now I was able to approach the bed. I peered deeply into Kate's eyes. They remained vacant and hollow. Her arms hung limply at her sides. Nothing moved but her mouth. I am Maria. Did I say Marie? Maria Carrillo. I don't know if I'm saying Marie. I am Maria Carrillo, she said again. Then she continued, I have returned and I am using this body to tell you that I was brutally murdered by Felix Allen. I fell back in shock, grabbing the dresser to steady myself. Felix Allen was an orderly in the hospital where we worked with Maria. Kate, or rather Maria, went on. Felix Allen followed me home, then forced his way into my apartment. He said he was going to take all my jewelry. I grabbed him and tried to stop him, but he was too strong. He knocked me to the floor, then stabbed me. As I lay there dying, he taunted me, telling me he was taking my jade bracelet, my Marquisate earrings, and my gold necklace. He said that he was going to give my pearl cocktail ring, my most treasured possession, to his girlfriend. That ring was given to me by my mother. It is inscribed with the words, Love, Mother. I cursed at him, and that's when he went berserk, stabbing me over and over until I finally saw no more. Please catch him and send the ring back to my mother. No one else should have it now. Then Kate's eyes closed and she seemed to fall into a deep sleep. I rushed to her side and took her pulse. Normal. A few minutes later, Kate woke up with a terrible headache and absolutely no memory of what had taken place. Welcome back to the land of the living, I said, smiling. You had me worried for a minute there. What happened? Kate asked. I was in the kitchen then. How did I get in here? I tried my best to explain what happened. Needless to say, Kate was skeptical. After all, she's not the one who stood here listening to a dead woman talk. I felt compelled to go to the police, even though I suspected they'd think I was crazy. I know I would have diagnosed psychosis if a patient of mine in the hospital had told me this story, but starved as they were for leads, 2 veteran detectives agreed to pay a visit to Felix Allen. After obtaining a search warrant, the 2 detectives showed up at Allen's apartment one evening, armed with a detailed list of what had been stolen. Conveniently provided by the victim, the detectives searched the apartment while Allen looked on. One by one, they found the jade bracelet, the Marquisate earrings, and the gold necklace. Then Allen's girlfriend happened to stop by, and she was wearing a pearl cocktail ring. One of the detectives, threatening to arrest the girlfriend as an accessory to murder if she didn't cooperate, convinced her to take off the ring. There, engraved on the inside of the band, were the words, Love, Mother, exactly as Maria's ghost had said. Confronted by the overwhelming evidence, Felix Allen confessed and was later convicted of murder. I asked the cops if I could take the ring and make sure it was returned to Maria's mother in the Philippines. The police agreed, and so the case was officially closed, unofficially solved by ghost of Maria Carrillo. That's a trip. Ohio. How to solve your own murder. All right. Ohio is done. Okay. Well, I'm going to end it there. I thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. If you are into paranormal books, you collect paranormal paraphernalia, all that kind of stuff. That's paranormal. You like this stuff? Buy you a copy of this book. It'd be good for your collection. Michael Teitelbaum, I'm sure, would appreciate it. And we will see you all on the next one.